by about 30 seconds, but I couldn't resist. Here we are, back in the workshop after a mega journey around the South Island. Total case count was 4,680 odd kilometers, give or take. Had a bit of a sting in the tail, as always. The ferry that should have left Picton back to Wellington at 2 p.m. on the Thursday didn't. No, it really, really didn't. It left at about, I would say, about 9:45 in the evening. It was massively delayed. Sure, they apologized, but it turned out to be a very, very long day. I didn't get into bed at the hotel in Wellington until 2:30, I think is what the clock said, 2:30 a.m. Friday morning. And then I found myself up again answering emails at about 7:30. So 5 hours kip. Couldn't sleep. Obviously, Mr. Sunshine had come up in Wellington. Lots of traffic, lots of noise, lots of diggering and jackhammering and all sorts of other noises going on and peeping and things. So just gave up. Got up, had a shower, as you always do, you know, and then just made my way home. Took me pretty much all day to go. I had lots of stops, lots of coffee. But I made it back, which was nice. And yesterday, I pretty much had a day off, to be honest. Didn't do bugger all, just unloaded the ute. And then, Wellington parking. Yes, that was, Jim, that was a nightmare. Obviously, having the crate on the back of the ute. The original hotel that I was booked in at, for some unknown reason, not going to point any fingers at all, not only, well, they hadn't actually booked me any parking for the ute. Now, we use a third-party agency for, you know, through work for all the accommodation and on these trips and things. And they know full well that Andy's in his ute and it's full of, you know, diagnostic gear and stuff, so it needs secure parking. Anyway, turns out when I rang the hotel to say, hey, I've got a crate in the back, I need parking with a bit extra height, can you put me in the loading bay, which is what they normally do? They went, sorry sir, we haven't got any parking booked for you at all. What? So it turns out I had to shift hotels, and a different hotel was extremely accommodating and allowed me to park in their loading bay. And actually their loading bay is a lot bigger, enough room for probably 5 or 6 different vehicles. So worked out in the end, but I tell you now, I was knackered. I fell asleep on the ferry, holding my rucksack, you know, it's security, obviously, and just fell asleep for about an hour and a half. I was very glad to get in bed that night. Right, anyway, I haven't even started my live stream, so just bear with me in a second, chaps. Mrs. Mechanic had to re-warm my coffee because I was too busy trying to get set up and never drank any of it. There we go. Right, hang on. Who have we got? Let's have a look. Dum, 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 dum. Roger Heaps. Good morning, Andy and crew. Nice sunny day here for a change. Morning, Roger. Yes, it's not bad. A bit foggy here this morning. It's not overly cold. Oh, Mrs. Mechanic told me off for not wearing a sweater. Vijayant Governor. Hello, Andy and family from South Africa. Good morning, Vijayant. Welcome back to the workshop. Simon. You couldn't hold back, could you? Let's find out if you're right. Harry Dag, what is he at? Oh, where is he at? Where is he at? I'm back in my workshop. Don't you recognise it, Harry? Al Elish. Good morning, Andy, crew, and Mrs. Mechanic. Oh, I watched the Grand Tour. What was it? The Scandi Flick, or something like that was called. Very good. Poor James May. No spoiler alerts. You've got to watch it. Unbelievable what those three got up to this time round. They're going to break one of them soon, the way if they carry on. Right, Mike Bozansky. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mike. Welcome back to the workshop. Time for a cigarette, I think. Jim K. Hello. A man of many words. Good morning, Jim. Bear with me. George Bonnie 90, hello everybody, and a thumbs up. Good job there, George. Jim K, how was the parking in Wellington? Discussed that. It was horrendous. And there was absolutely no way of me going, you know what? Let's abort mission staying in Wellington and just drive home. Wasn't going to happen. Not possible. Very tired. Not in a fit state for any kind of long distance driving. I've been driving all day. I'd gone off on I'd taken an alternative route with a dead end to get to the ferry because I had lots of spare time. And I knew that I was going to be up extremely late. So I thought, right, bit of time for me. Let's go and explore. Now then, where do we get to? Bum, 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 bum. JJ. Morning, Andy and crew. Many thumbs up. Cheers, JJ. Machine NZ, morning, Andy and crew. It's a pretty standard slogan, isn't it? Good morning. How are you, sir? How is your formidable workshop, engineering shop? George Bonnie 90, I got the hat you sent me. Really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. No problem at all, George. It was an absolute pleasure to send it out. I have got, I think, a couple more of those caps kicking around that Brandon gave me. So, you know, maybe we'll run another competition a bit further down the line and maybe I'll send one out to somebody else because they are cool caps. I mean, they're incredibly durable. I mean, they last me for years, these things. Although I say I have got a few and they're in various states of disrepair. Connor K. Good morning, Andy and crew. Back home in the shop again, yes. And although as much as I enjoyed the trip, it was tainted somewhat by being full of man flu, which was a near-death experience again for me. It was tainted by that, for sure. You know, it's basically I was just doing the minimum that I had to get done each day and then just crashing out on an evening, trying to get lots of sleep under my belt to try and get recovered as quick as possible. And it makes me grumpy. I don't like being grumpy. And when I'm ill, I get a little bit short-tempered. And it's nobody's fault. But I have a lot of phone calls, a lot of conversations. I do a lot of talking, which probably isn't a good thing, to be fair. But when you've got a sore throat, you start to lose your voice or it starts to hurt. And of course, that then it pisses me off, to be honest. Right, where do we get to? Sheldon. Here we go. Made it home, then got rid of the cold yet. Not yet. It's sort of a lot better. It's just the snivelly nose snot period, which is probably going to go on for a few more days. But the head cold has gone. I don't have any headaches. The sinuses have all cleared and stuff. So I'm a lot better. A lot better. I'm on the mend. Simon. Held back 2 weeks ago, lol. The Grand Tour was good. Did not expect that from James May. No, the Grand Tour was very good. I mean, I think Mr. Clarkson announced they hadn't filmed for 3 years, which, man, canage à toi? That was 3 years ago. Man, time. I mean, obviously it took a while to edit up and get it out live, but I suppose the filming that they did would have been maybe 3 years ago. So, yeah, it's amazing how time flies, isn't it? But it was very good, and there's a few twists in it, and it was a good laugh. But I think, you know, they're getting on a bit now, and they just need to be maybe a little bit more careful. I was telling Mrs. Mechanic last night when we were watching it that as viewers, all we really need to see is them going on an adventure. We don't need an adventure, yeah. But we don't need to see them potentially in life-threatening situations, on which there were more than one on that episode. So check it out. It was good. Connor K, the Grand Tour. Hammond has been broken several times already. He has, and he's the youngest one. Simon, hit that like. Thanks, Simon. Nathan N. Hey, Andy and crew. Exclamation mark. Wondering if you can talk about how you organize hardware, nuts, bolts, etc. in the garage. Anything would be better than my huge bag of extra randomly assorted crap. I can. In fact, I'll deal with that right now before I forget. So let's go on a little wander. Just turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, so my workshop isn't the tidiest, but I do try to be as organized as possible. Otherwise, it would get incredibly messy. And over the years, my nuts and bolts box has grown, and it's now basically a complete roll cab. And if we look in here, look, you see we've got them all labelled up. The labels are probably need to be redone because the assortment is growing on a regular basis. I know, ta-da! Isn't it good? I can find things, and I keep finding more nuts and bolts around, and I keep adding to it. And the drawers are pretty much packed out now. So that's M5 and M6. We've got those, they're M8s, lots of M8s, stainless, lots of washers and countersinks, and you name it, it's all in there. Really useful when you're making stuff up. That's your M10 drawer. Look at that, very smart. And you can tell the runners are struggling. This is M12. We don't have a lot of M12. That was mainly for the beams around the workshop. You can see up there, look, when we did those. And there's probably still a few bolts missing from the roof that I ran out, but I never got around to putting them in. But hey, you know what? It's still standing. And this drawer here, this is the Wrangham drawer. This is like odds and sods, you know, roofing bolts, timber bolts, and that kind of stuff, and concrete stuff. So, you know, it's always work in progress. What we got in here? Overflow drawer. Look at that lot. So many nuts and bolts. Unbelievable. And then, I think over here, I can't get to it, but down there, in those little city chrome drawers, I've started to put all the little tiny fasteners, like M3s and M4s and stuff, in those. But they're not labelled up yet. Right, so there you go, back to the bench. Oh, actually, and just like you, I do have some trays of assorted nuts and bolts as well. You know, stuff that I never throw anything out. You've got to keep stuff, basically, because it's amazing how often I go in those boxes and find just the bolt that I need. It's great. There we are. That's about right, isn't it? There we go. So yeah, you've got to be organised. It's not easy, but once you get organised, it's actually quite easy to keep it organised. If you know what I mean. Sheldon, yeah, you weren't your usual bubbly self weekend. Snotty, sorry. I wasn't. I was pretty grumpy in all honesty. It wasn't the plan. It wasn't you guys. It was my cold that was affecting me. It's not often. Not often I fall ill, actually. I'm normally pretty good. Simon, so Unimog Pearl. Oh God, I have spent way too much money this year. Honestly, it'll have to wait until next year, possibly. Should Andy get a Mog as a mobile workshop? Geez, a mobile workshop. That means I've got more work to do. I should definitely get a Unimog. I think I should get I do like Unimogs. I keep seeing them every trip I do. I keep seeing you. In fact, I saw a Unimog, and I think it was a U1300L troop carrier, and it had on the back a Pinsgauer, which is a little 6x6 thing, and it was transporting the Pinsgauer on the back of the Unimog, and both machines are in my targets, believe me. Unfortunately, the little Pinsgauer things, I'm sure that's how you pronounce it, they're a great little machine, but I've only ever come across one that can be road registered here in New Zealand, and it was stupid money. It made buying a Unimog cheap. So I don't think it's going to happen, but it will be a very cool piece of kit to have, and I imagine you can probably still get parts for them. I mean, there's plenty of military groups around the world that still run them, I think. And they've got quite a few here. I passed a convoy of probably 6 or 7 of those. Probably a few weeks. It might have even been on the way down to the South Island, actually. Now then, Matterwicks. Hi, y'all. Good morning, Matterwicks. Welcome back to the workshop. Roger Heaps. Ooh, Squatter has moved on. So spare bed is again free if you want a bed. Squatter. I like it. Matterwicks, I just had a dad's steak and pepper pie for breakfast. Snap. Cool, eh? I don't think we've done that one yet. I don't think I've actually had one yet, whether I've actually reviewed it or not. I don't think I've eaten one of those, so we'll get at the pie one very shortly. I'm just going to catch up with the comments, because you guys are pretty quick on the old keyboard this morning. Oh, Matterwicks, do you have COVID or a cold? No, it is just a cold. I was testing every single day while I was away, talking to, and obviously letting the motorcycle owners, shop owners know in advance that, hey, Andy's got a cold. Are you still okay for me to come down? A couple of them did abort mission on that, which was fine because it gave me more time to get some admin work done, and totally understood. And they were ill as well, so it's like, well, you know what? Don't worry about it. It's just the way it is. But no, they were saying that it takes 3 or 4 days from when you start to get, you know, a cold, for when you possibly would test positive for the big C. But as it turns out, my superpowers, as I tell my children, have still kept me safe, which is nice. Unbelievable, really, given the traveling that I've done and the number of people that I've met. And here in New Zealand now, while I was away, they announced we don't need to wear masks anymore, unless you're in I think a medical place, like a hospital or a doctor's or surgery or something. Anywhere else, no need to wear a mask, which I thought, okay, that's definitely going to, raise the spirits, I think, and change the mental perception of how things are with the majority of people. We're going to be, I think, very much getting back to normal and just cracking on with life now that we don't need to wear masks. Because I found it extremely hard when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and trying to read their body language and their facial expressions and so on. Very, very difficult to do when you're wearing a mask. You know, it's almost impossible, and it really detracts from the conversation a lot. Roger. Oh, done that one, sorry. Matowix, done that one. Igor Dobroskis. You need to get a Soviet Gaz 66. Better than a Unimog. It could well be. I don't think we're going to have any Gaz 66s here in New Zealand, and if we have, it might be a problem. However, I did have a ZIL 131. Just for reference, back in the UK, which is a cool truck. Very different, very much older technology. But it had on-the-fly inflatable and deflatable tyres. How cool is that? That machine was probably designed back in the 50s. And I did a carburetor rebuild on it because it wasn't running very well. It turned out to be an ignition fault, but everything was in Russian, and I don't speak Russian at all. So I thought, I'll clean the carb out and see if that cures it. And I'm not kidding, the carburetor was probably about a foot square. It was absolutely enormous. And it had a little leather accelerator pump diaphragm in it. It was leather. That's how old the machine was. Because that's what they used to use, leather. It's pretty cool. It also drank an immense amount of fuel. It would use about 1 litre of fuel per kilometre. So yeah, it was just a very, very thirsty beast. So we didn't really drive it very often. When we did, it's very cool. The braking system, it had air over hydraulic, I believe, from memory. Yes, air over hydraulic. But, and this is the bad bit, it was so old that you had to have air pressure to get brakes, right? Now, modern trucks are the other way around. Your brakes only come off once you've built up the air pressure, like on the Unimog. That one, if you braked too often and you lost your air pressure, you lost your brakes, and the handbrake didn't work. So we had no brakes. On a regular basis, I'd be driving it around with going down a hill, and I'd used up all the brakes. So you'd be trying to crash it down into a really low gear and use engine braking. It was quite dodgy, to be honest. You have to be on your guard driving it. And I think there is a picture of me next to it on my Facebook somewhere. If you go trawling through the galleries, you'll find it. Matowix, I have the gourmet steak and pepper. I have 12 in the freezer. That's pure dedication, that is. They are the seconds from the Dad's Pie shop in Silverdale. I buy a box of 12 for $20. Cheap enough is that. Microwave it then first, and then crisp it in the pie warmer. Nice. Igor's, the Gaz has the same inflatable tyre system. A V8 under the cab. It was a V8 in the, I'm pretty sure it was a V8 in the ZIL, actually, from memory. Gear shifter behind your back. What? And you can repair your carb and change the plugs straight from the cabin. Very cool. Because obviously, you know, it's cold outside. You don't want to be going outside to fix your engine. What else was with ours? Ours had twin fuel tanks. And you had to start it on petrol. But, and this is no word of a lie, the guy that sold it to me, I did a bit of research, and I'm sure he's right, because he sold a few of them. Once it was running and warmed up, you could run it on diesel. What? Seriously? And you can get multi-fuel engines for tanks and stuff as well, and they'd actually built this old engine back in the day that would run on multi-fuel. Very cool. It's far better than the modern day Prius, clearly. But I never tried it on diesel, but it was good. Matowicz, are they selling DR200s? They are. Yes, I have seen DR200s, the Trojan version, the farm one, for sale in a number of Suzuki dealerships around New Zealand. So yes, I'm pretty confident they're selling them again. Yeah. Right. That's the comments caught up. Today's pie is a dad's pies, and some say the best pies on the planet. Pepper steak. Obviously, you know, yet to be decided if this is the best pie. That's what we're here to do. It says here, great New Zealand pies. Made in New Zealand since 1981. And so I'm told, based in Silverdale, which is just about, I don't know, 30 minutes north of Auckland on a good day. Maybe an hour and a half on a bad day. That's how the traffic is. dadspies.co.nz, so check it out. Nah, there's nothing really. Oh, there's a bit of stuff on the back. Hang on, bear with me. So, since 1981, making pies is what gets us up in the morning, very early. We're a bakers and believers, and through that great people and great ingredients make a great New Zealand pie. To camera. Look at that. Right. Okay, the pie is being extracted. That was a good fit. Okay, there you go, look. Dum 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 dum. Pretty good. Pretty integral. No major cracks. Base is good. Lid is good. Although they have put three puncture wounds in the top to maybe let out the steam once it's warming up. But all in all, looking pretty good. So, time for the pie warmer. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay. So while we're doing this, how is the quality of the video and the audio? The audio is normally pretty good, but we do struggle with the video. We are back on transmitting through the Wi-Fi of the workshop. I did a speed test. It was about 25 megabytes per second upload, so we should be absolutely fine. Fingers crossed. Right, pie. Do it justice for Dad's pies. Okay. Oh, look. What's in the crate? Simon, shut up. What's in the crate? Back to the comments. I'm going to draw this out as long as I can. You wait. A big reveal coming up. Okay, where do we get to? Simon. What's that army truck that will run on anything, old engine oil, etc.? It runs on all sorts of shit, to be honest, but definitely will run on diesel once it's warmed up, and you switch across to the other fuel tank. I don't know how well it runs, but I'm told it runs. Igors Devroskis. It is amazing for the ZIL run on diesel because it is a low compression engine. I know that everything that has Russian tank engines can run from diesel to aviation fuel. I actually couldn't believe it. I was like, are you sure? I mean, I didn't want to risk it if it didn't run on diesel, obviously, because it'd be a bit of a nightmare clearing it all out. But yeah, and it had an ignition fault, so it wasn't very happy anyway. So mine probably wouldn't have run very well on the diesel. But anyway, yeah, it's all good. But it just ran on unleaded petrol, I think, and it was just horrific on fuel. Probably didn't want unleaded fuel in it, actually. Probably should have had some kind of additive, but we didn't run it very often, so it was all right. And then we sold it. And we got exactly back for it what we paid, which was great. Matowicz, I just ate that exact pie, but it cost me under $2. I actually don't remember. I did buy these from a supermarket, and this is one of my backup pies for in the freezer. I don't know how much I paid. It was probably about $4.50, something like that. But yeah, I mean, sure, you know, if you can buy seconds and they're not too bad, then why not? Igors, some of them do not even have starters, just air pressure tanks. So they use the air pressure to turn the engine over. Very clever. Matowicz, that pie better do me justice. I think so. JJ, picture and sound, 10 out of 10 in Auckland. Woohoo! We are transmitting at full steam. Excellent. Oh, hang on. Igors, sorry. The old ZIL engines need the 72 octane. and they are very kinky on spark plugs. Did I ever? I think I did take some spark plugs out and clean them up, but I mean, I didn't have any more spare ones. But once it was running, it was actually all right. You know, it seemed to pull okay. And then we had a problem. We had a big problem. It wouldn't even start, and there was no spark at all. And all the HT leads, a bit like the old Land Rover 101s, were in like a braided. I think they did that on the 101s to prevent radio interference, because a lot of them used as radio trucks. See, I do know some stuff. And it was all waterproof and everything. They all had little joints at the end and stuff. It was all bolted down to the distributor cap and things, and that was all in a I think it was an aluminium housing that went over the top of the distributor cap. It was bizarre. And it turned out, I mean, the guy that we got it from, he said, "Oh, we never get any problems with these. They just don't fail." I said, "Well, this one has." So in the end, when he was up next delivering another one, he called round and he fitted a whole new ignition system, which was a distributor. There was like some kind of weird ignition module thing, because it was electronic ignition. Back then was pretty cool. But it was all in Russian, all the instructions in Russian. I had no idea back then what I was doing. And, you know, I did the basics and checked all the connections and stuff, but it just didn't work. I just couldn't get a spark out of it. He came down, he fixed it, and I thought, cool, it now runs, and it did start on the button straight up, no bother. Right, we've had some fun out of it. It's a bit of a liability on parts. It's taken us like a year to get all the bits for it to get it fixed again. We should sell it. And it had only done, when I got it, it had only done about 750 odd, I think it was in kilometers, about 750 kilometers from new. And it still had the grease-proof paper around the leaf springs when I got it. It didn't when we sold it, because obviously I'd driven it off-road a bit. But it was still under 1,000 kilometers when we sold it. Bargain. And ours was a decontamination unit. It had a big Bowser tank on the back. I think it weighed about 6.5 tons empty, whereas the Mog weighed, I think, about 5 tons empty. So it was quite a heavy beast, but it wasn't as good off-road as the Unimog. The Unimog was pretty formidable, to be honest. Simon, suppose once the engine is warm, it will help the diesel ignite. Yeah, I imagine so. It had to be up to temperature, otherwise I was told you there's no way it was going to work. Manowix, would you run a car engine that says 95 on only 91? I did for a few days when prices were high. The engine was pinking. It's not good. Pre-ignition. A bit, so I stopped using it, but performance was about the same. No, absolutely not. Pre-ignition, which is basically the fuel is igniting by the heat generated in the cylinder before the spark event. So it's what we call an uncontrolled burn. And don't forget, the piston's still on the way up, you know, and it's more of an explosion than a burn across the piston. It's not controlled. So essentially, it's like a giant hammer that just smacks on top of the piston suddenly and tries to punch it back the wrong way. And that can cause pretty significant damage to the piston. I've also come across actually big end failures as a result of that. And one of my KTMs, yes, here we go. I ran that on 91, pretty much. It's an 640 LC4, 2006, last of the carburetor ones. Obviously, you know, CDI ignition and stuff on it. And that blew the left-hand main bearing from pre-ignition, from using the wrong fuel. It seemed to go all right. It crackled and popped very nicely, but it did eventually destroy the engine, which is not good. Now then, where do we get to? Geez. So there, don't run your car on a substandard fuel. They usually tell you for a reason. And also be very careful of the RON and the MON scales, because the same fuel on the RON scale will have a higher score than it will on or higher value, should I say, than on the MON scale. Something I've been doing a bit of research on recently. I can't disclose why, obviously, but it does catch people out big time. And it's surprising, actually, how poor some of the octane ratings on the fuel is when you actually drill deep into the figures. Igors, the braided wires were for anti-radio faults. There you go, to stop the interference. Geez, ecrastination, never heard of that word before. They have a common fault with the commutator. There were two boxes alike. One was for emergencies if the main one died. Wow, a backup ignition system. That's cool. I don't think the ZIL had that. It only seemed to have one aluminium box. It had fins on it to keep it cool. And wires went in and wires came out. And that was all I knew about it. I didn't delve into any more. Couldn't get a wiring diagram. Everything I got was in Russian. I was just dead in the water. I mean, if Ivor had been there, he'd have sorted it out for us, I'm sure. It would have been a good video for him as well. Now then, where we get to Matwix. Are you going on any overseas trips? No, hoping not to go overseas at the moment. Although saying that, I would like to go to Canada and go and see Charlie Chalk at some point. That would be nice. I think it's going to be next year. So I suppose there is a trip on the horizon. Always very dubious about leaving the property, unattended for so long, but the way it has to be. But saying that, Ben might come down and cover the house for a bit and look after Team Marmite because she can't go. Igors, they have mobile workshops with lathes and drill presses and tools. They are bad off-road because they have very shady all-wheel drive systems. Kamaz, Ural and Kraz are way better. They are. I've seen those on the long way around. They use some of those and very, very cool machines. Amazing where they go, those Ural trucks and the Kraz trucks. Phenomenal. Matowix, do you think I damaged my engine? I did one tank of 91. I think you'd probably get away with it, to be honest, just for one tank. It's that sort of prolonged use that just starts to cause problems. But some mechanics say the modern car computers compensate the timing when you change octane. They have a knock sensor to cars, so when they sense that knock, they back off the ignition advance, and maybe that's going to help a little bit. I don't know, but I still think you should be using the right fuel. Mrs. Mechanic used to put 91 in her MR2 and it did not like it at all. It ran a lot better on 95. Igors, all of them, all of them had the emergency system. The other one was right next to it and a little smaller. You had to put one of the wires from the main commutator to it. Okay, well, I just didn't know. I had no idea. Very naive back then with that kind of stuff. And actually still am. I've got no experience at all on working on one other than rebuilding the carburetor, which was fun. JJ, with vehicles that can run on multiple fuels, do they have separate tanks or can they run on a mix in the main tank? Again, the only experience I've got was with the ZIL and it had a separate fuel tank. It had to be started on petrol. That's what I was told. So obviously, if you did mix it all up, then you'd probably struggle to start the machine if it was just one tank. So I think, realistically, they would probably have two tanks. Madowix, when there was that pipeline break from the refinery, there was only 91 available. And on TV, they said you can use 91 for a while with no problem. There you go. I think short term, you can get away with it. Long term, could cause problems. And those problems usually get really expensive. Now then, you guys have slowed down on your comments. What's going on? Give me some more. We were just getting into a flow there. It's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to finish this cigarette and we will do the big reveal. We will. What's in the crate? So, in the meantime, you've seen the crate. Simon might or might not be correct. Anybody else want to have a punt on what might be in the crate? Because I'm not saying Simon's right. I really aren't. It's too early for that. Simon, pie in yet? Yes, we put the pie in. Look, there's the empty bag. The pie's in the pie warmer. I'm starving. So, plan of attack for today. We've got the electrical people coming tomorrow to wire up the or provide the outlets for the air compressors outside under the carport. So I've got all under the carport to clear out. That's my mission this afternoon. Well, actually, after the live stream, I haven't got anything else planned today. I'm trying to have an easy weekend. Hayabusa what? Come on, Simon. You need to give me more than one word. You can do it. He's tapping away at his keyboard flat out right now, trying to get another comment in. No. Okay. In the crate. No, it's not a Hayabusa in the crate. It's too small for that. It'd be a mini Hayabusa if it was. It's for Mrs. Mechanic. There's a clue for you. And there's no way in hell that I would let Mrs. Mechanic even contemplate trying to ride a Hayabusa. She would cause herself no end of problems. Mrs. Mechanic likes to ride small motorcycles because then she can touch the ground, and reasonably small capacity. The largest bike she had was a 400cc Suzuki Cruiser. I think it was an SL or an LS. SL 400 Cruiser thing. And it was all right, but the carburetor was crap on it. It never really ran right. It would either be revving too high or it'd stall out, and I had that carbon bit so many times. I think it was just worn out, basically. JJ, my IS200, or LS200, no, it's an I. My IS200 seems to be running okay on 91. Good luck. Grant Woodhouse, mower engine. It's going to be a bloody big lawnmower if it's a mower engine. Mazowix, I want one of them Honda monkey bikes. I want one of those Honda monkey bikes. They're cool little bikes, aren't they? And very, very sought after here in New Zealand. The old ones, the original monkey bikes, they fetch stupid money at the moment, especially when they're in good nick. Even ones that are like unfinished project, you know, half the bits that you can't get anymore are missing, and they just decide to sell it, and they give up on it, and they still fetch big money. Coffee's cold. Right, are you ready for the big unveil of what's in the crate? Because it's going to happen right now. I'm going to turn you. I'll turn you around. Hopefully, I won't go off camera. Give me a second. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Let's get you set up because I've got a few straps to take off. There we go. Look, right. Probably about there is about best. Right. Bear with me. So, what could be in the crate? Who knows? Who knows what's in the crate? Don't know. Right. Are you ready? Place your bets now. Do I do it slowly? Look at that! Simon, you were right. It's a Honda monkey bike, and it's one of the new ones. The Honda X, they call it, is the model. And it is registered for the road. It's all good to go. I believe it should even start. Let's give it a go. In fact, let's bring you around a bit so you can see the dash. Look at that. Oh, fuel injected. Nice. Okay, you press the fire button. Can I do that on the live stream? You ready? It's out of gear. We're in neutral. Yes. Just checking. Oh, yes. Look at that. What a machine. Pretty cool. Big chunky tyres. It's got a weird penangled exhaust on it. It goes round in a big circly thing underneath. Most bizarre. Upside down forks. Look at that for a headlight. Very smart. It's got ABS on the front wheel for extra stopping power. So, and I like the old Honda badge. They've gone for the old traditional style badge on there, which is good. I'll turn it off now because you can't hear me. There we go, look. But extremely cool little bike. I went for the yellow because it stands out really well on camera. They do a black one and they do a blue one, and I thought the yellow one was the best one to go for. So this is a gift from me, hardworking and a mechanic, to Mrs. Mechanic. And she's overwhelmed by it. She's not ridden it yet, obviously it's still in the crate. But she's very much looking forward to having a blast on that. I think she's going to really enjoy it. It's going to be an excellent little bike. And it's nice to see manufacturers starting to do the retro stuff now on the little mini bikes and things, because these things have a great following. They really do. And she'll treasure this for many years. And she'll be able to whiz down to the shops and do shopping and things and whiz home. Look at that. Very cool. Very cool indeed. So that bike, I'm going to turn you around now actually. Boom. Here we go. Bear with me. Bear with me. We will get round to get this sorted out eventually. Useless. Right. Here we go. That bike, I was supposed to pick it up on the Thursday lunchtime, when I left Oamaru, and it wasn't quite ready. They'd had a bit of a delay on the shipping because it had to come down from Auckland, obviously, in the warehouse, into the Blue Wing warehouse, and it got delayed by a couple of days, which wasn't a massive problem. So I said, look, don't panic, don't rush to get it done. I'll pick it up on Saturday. I'll come back down from Christchurch down to Oamaru. It's about a 2.5, 3 hour drive. Pick it up and then drive back to Christchurch and then be back en route for my normal sort of schedule. And then I think it was on maybe the day after, it came to light that I needed to go back to Queenstown. Queenstown's a long way from Oamaru, but I thought, well, let's get the job done. So I had the Sunday free. That was going to be my day off. And instead, I did pick up the bike on the Saturday afternoon, got it all loaded up and strapped down, got the tarpaulin put on and stuff. And on the Sunday morning after the live stream, as most of you well know, I then drove from there straight to Queenstown, picked up a gearbox that was desperately needed back in Oamaru, and said hello to Ellie, surprise visit, because my youngest daughter lives in Queenstown. Quick call round at her work there to see her, and she gave me a gift for my Father's Day present, which is very nice, and it fits, Ellie, if you're watching. Thank you very much. And then drove back to Oamaru, dropped said gearbox off, arrived there, I think it was about 6 o'clock in the evening. I got back there. A phenomenal day's driving, absolutely perfect weather for driving. The roads are pretty good, not too many numpties around. And then the drive back from Oamaru back up to Christchurch, that was the hard bit. I stopped off in Ashburton and had some tea, just needed a break, basically. Just had a proper meal, had an hour off, and then finally rolled into Christchurch. I think it was about 11:15 that night at the hotel. And they had parking, so that was good. So it was quite a long drive, probably covered, I would say, about 800 to maybe 850 kilometers that day. And it pretty much was non-stop driving. And obviously I had to take it reasonably steady, lots of police around. And of course I had the bike on the back. So that bike has actually been all the way down to Queenstown and then back all the way through the South Island, across to Nelson, back across to Blenheim, Picton, and then up from Wellington home. So the bike itself on the back of the ute has probably, as a rough estimate, done about 2,500 kilometers, maybe a little bit more. And it was strapped down really well. Didn't move at all. Even the tarpaulin behaved itself pretty well, although I did put plenty of straps on it. The one thing I hate is tarpaulins that are flapping when you're driving along, because long term it just destroys the tarpaulin. It'll start to tear on the folds and stuff. So you've got to make sure that it's strapped down properly on long journeys. And you often see, people going the other way with trailers on the back, and the tarpaulin is flapping away in the wind, and you just know it'll be shredded by the time they get to where they're going. Right, back to the comments. Where do we get to? Oh, hang on, bear with me. Laptop's not, there we are, look. Right. Connor K, are you going to close in the air compressors in the cabinet to reduce noise, or just keep them under the carport? No, there is a full-size cabinet with doors already built. The idea is that the compressors will be on a big steel skid. They'll be all bolted to the skid with those rubber mounts. I'll be able to lift the skid out with Trevor the tractor whenever I need to service the compressors, but other than that, they'll stay in there, and when we're using them, the doors should be shut. Now, obviously, we've got a cooling issue to consider, so there'll be a 240-volt mains-powered fan blowing fresh air in, and another fan as an extractor pulling the air out. And I think that should be enough to keep everything cool. They don't run 100% duty cycle, but it's not far off when Mrs. Mechanic's flat out on the sandblasting machine on the cabinet. So they do get pretty hot. But each compressor has its own fan as well. And I mean, let's face it, the cabinet's not airtight. There's going to be lots of air flowing around in there as well. So I think we'll be all right. I will keep an eye on it, but I think we'll be fine. Richard Perry, hi Andy and crew, hope all are well. GB thumbs up. Cheers, Richard. Appreciate that, matey. Welcome back to the workshop. Igor Zabroskis, are there any Honda Dios alive? I have heard of a Honda Dio, and I'm pretty confident I even worked on one many years ago. Are there still some in New Zealand? Probably are, kicking around, yeah. Peter Woodfine, hi Andy and crew, good morning. Pete, welcome aboard, matey. Welcome back to the workshop. It's a monkey bike. It is. It's one of the new ones, 125cc, fuel injected. It's got a manual clutch and a number of gears, hopefully 5. I don't know. I've not read any of the specs on it, to be honest. It's even got an alarm system on the key fob. But I'm going to cover all that in a separate video that I'm going to be making after this live stream. I'm going to do a proper, decrate, get the bike out, go through some of the features. Because people are interested in monkey bikes. They're pretty cool, and hence why we've got one. Madowix, I want one of them. I think they're very cool, and I think you should get one. Richard, wow, monkey bike, thumbs up. Absolutely. It wasn't going to be a monkey bike to start off with. It was going to be a Honda CT125. I suppose a lot of people call them the postie bikes. We were going to get Mrs. Mechanic one of those because I do have an old CT110, I think it is. Yeah, it is a 110, I'm sure it is. That we resurrected. We got it going. It was a barn find. I was given it, and we did a video getting it fired up, and it took a bit of work to get it going because it'd been stood a very long time. But it did run, and it ran pretty well. However, it turned out that I can't get that bike road registered. It is the farm version of that model and not the postie bike. And we know that because it's got the low ratio gearbox. So getting it on the road would be very difficult. I probably have to get a postie bike and then build one out of the two using the postie bike frame, which is identical, I believe. Anyway, but it would give me the VIN number. It would give me the road legalness to get it registered. Possibly still going to happen. Long-term project. Who knows? If I come across a postie bike that's still got live regio, we call it here in New Zealand, and it's not too expensive, then that might be the option. But it's a long way down the line, and I wanted to get Mrs. Mechanic some kind of a bike to ride around now. The CT125 turned out to have an 80 centimeter seat height, which is way too high for Mrs. Mechanic, unfortunately. The monkey bike is, I think, 74 from memory. It's substantially lower. It's still a little bit higher than the bike she used to have, an SR125. But looking at it, I can get some different shocks for the rear if need be, lower the back end, and the front end I can slide the forks through the yokes a little bit. So we can lower it a bit more if we need to. But yes, she's very, very excited to riding it. What she's going to use it for, I don't know. We've got another big bike trip planned. Probably it was going to be January, but it's not going to be January anymore. It's probably going to be around about March, April next year. So the weather's still reasonable at that time here in New Zealand. And the reason for that is we will also have, hopefully, if all goes to plan, are one of the new Suzuki Jimneys, the little boxy things, 1.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol, with all the bells and whistles on it. So we're getting that. I think that should be delivered in January. And the plan is I want to fit like an ARB bull bar and a winch and all the bits, all the glitzy stuff for off-road. Get it all kitted out, and then I will be the support crew to Mrs. Mechanic. I'll be driving the Jimny with Team Marmite, and Mrs. Mechanic will be riding a bike. We don't know which one it'll be yet. It might be the monkey bike, or it might be something else. Work in progress. I'm in negotiations at the moment, and believe me, there is some negotiations going on in the background. So watch this space. Obviously, when I know more, I will let you know. And then the plan of attack is to do north to south again, like we did on the DR200. Probably a different route, although most likely some of the same gravel roads, but maybe in a different direction, because a lot of them sort of go east to west as opposed to north south, so it doesn't really matter which way around you go. But try and make it as much of a different route as we can. There's an awful lot of New Zealand and some really good parts of New Zealand that we couldn't cover on the DR trip. Because the country's quite wide in places and you only pass through it in one point. So despite lots of zigzagging around, there was still some really good areas in New Zealand, excellent gravel roads that we weren't able to include. So we can do it all over again and see if Mrs. Mechanic can do it, because it's a very long way. It's a long way to ride. It's going to be hard for her. I don't think she realizes just how hard it is. She needs to get bike fit. Now then, where do we get to? Matowix, is it registered for the road? It is. Matowix, is it 50cc? No, it's 125cc. I don't think I would have bought one if it was 50cc, to be honest. Too slow, too troublesome. All you end up doing is wringing its neck everywhere you go, and then they just blow up. Simon, now, you have the Honda OBD adapter just in case. I don't. I need to get that kind of stuff sorted out. Matowix, I bet it was about $3,000. It should be Honda Red. It should be Honda Red. They didn't have one. They don't make that bike in Honda Red. What the hell? Seriously? If they had, we would have definitely got a red one, but they didn't do red. They did yellow, black, or blue were the only 3 colour options. And it wasn't that they were out of stock. The catalogue, the brochure, as you call it, online, only had those 3 colours. So maybe the red one just never came to New Zealand. I don't know. We couldn't get one. Roger Heaps, send me a clip of her riding it. Bet she'll love it. I hope so. As regards cost, did not get much of a discount. A slither of discount, because obviously it's Honda. Very difficult to negotiate discounts. The bikes are pretty hard to come by here in New Zealand. They don't have lots of them. Exchange rate's pretty poor. It was expensive. I sat down. Now, this is New Zealand dollars. I hope Mrs. Mechanic's not watching, because she doesn't want to know the price. But so, Mrs. Mechanic, if you're watching, you need to just turn off your phone for a bit. All right? Okay, 3, 2, 1. You done it? Okay, here we go. It was over 7,000 New Zealand dollars. Yes. It turned out to be about $500 more than the CT125. But hey, she can ride this bike, right? She couldn't ride the CT125. It would have ended up just being a me bike again. And I've got lots of motorcycles as it is. And the whole idea was it's a gift from me to her. So she has to be able to ride it. Obviously, it's a fundamental part of the gift criteria is that she can actually ride it. So very expensive. For what it is, extremely expensive. And I don't think they're going to sell that many of them because of the price. Which means further down the line, it's going to be more sought after. And of course, values only go up if you look after it. Matowix, does it require a $70 VTNZ WOF? It will require, yes, it will require a warrant of fitness, but only in 3 years' time. New vehicles get 3 years. They get a new warrant during PDI when they first get put on the road, and then they've got 3 years on that warrant. Same with cars. I'm nervous about the Dad's Pie review since I've promoted them so much. Exactly. You should be nervous. We'll find out very shortly. Oh my word, there's loads going on. Right. Simon, if anyone is looking for an advent calendar and tools, that the wearer advent calendar looks very good value. The 2022 ones are cheap at the minute. What? The wearer advent calendar. Hang on a minute. I have no idea what you're on about, Simon. Hang on. Bear with me. Google. Wearer. Okay, here we go. What the hell? Oh, hang on. There's somebody at the door. Bear with me. Hang on a second. Boom. Oh, it will be getting cold. Right. I've been told off. Mrs. Mechanic says, get your pie. It's going to be getting cold. So we have to unlock the pie. Okay. Very quickly, I have a new mug. My Eloise got me this mug for my... This is my other present that I got from her for Father's Day. So I'm going to try not to drop it. It feels very, very delicate. And it's got some very cool bikes on there. Look at that. Nice. Classic mug. Hot coffee. Okay. So the Wearer Advent Calendar. Wearer, Germany. This year would like to $135 for the calendar. I like that. I take it it's got some tools in it or something. It has. Look at that. Hang on, you can't see. We turn it around. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, going down. Look at this. Tools in there, look. Oh man, I like that. I should maybe order one of those. Spanner set. You've got your ratchety screwdriver thing. Is it a ratchet screwdriver or is it just a fixed screwdriver? I don't know. And then we get... okay, I'm going to leave that open. I might order one of those. Right. Okay, let's get this pie. Let's go get the pie. 3, 2, 1. You already turned round. Here we go. Okay, pie time. Because I'm hungry. Is it still warm? It is. It's still warm. Looking good. Any cracks? We'll have a better look at the bench. Come on then. Pie time. We'll talk about the bike a bit more later on. Okay, we'll stick it on there somewhere clean. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, sort the camera out. Whew. Okay, good close-up look. There you go, look. Looking very, very sturdy on the old carcass of the pie there. Don't see any cracks. Almost perfect, isn't it? Absolutely perfect. Underneath, very good. No cracks. Feels pretty solid as well, actually. And it hasn't really cracked across the vents either, which is very good. A little bit of the puff paste is breaking off, but hey, that's just pie for you. Okay, we're going to go in straight away because it is cooling down, and I don't like cold pies really. Okay, very slight crack actually across there, so we'll start at that point. Now, hang on. You guys have been flat out. Right, thank you, Simon. I'll check out that advent calendar. Sounds a great idea. John Nuttall. There was a YouTuber said he did a tour of New Zealand on a Suzuki. He has never posted it. I don't think he ever did it, lol. Funny guy. I did do it, and I did lots of posts to little pieces to camera on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So it's all in the can. I just need to edit it up. I need time to do it, and the jobs just keep coming at the moment. While I was driving, actually coming home, I was thinking about it, and I really must pull my finger out and get it done because there's some really cool footage on there. It will make a phenomenally good series, and I'm sure you'll all really enjoy watching it. Oh. Okay. I've got my pen. Right. Not bad. Definitely taste the peppery stuff. It is quite hot inside, so it's good. So far, nice big chunks of meat. Taste, stroke, flavour, initial sort of all-round munchy straight in kind of flavoury. It's pretty good. I'm going to give it an 8. I actually quite like that. That was good. Structure 40 partless. We'll save that for a little bit later because, you know, at the moment it's a 10. It really is. But it might start to break up. The pastry just feel a bit brittle. And we have developed a bit of an indent on the underside. So I'm going to be a bit wary about that. Now, runnability. Let's do one more bite so we get a full cross section and then we'll see if any of it spills out. Oh. Okay. Look at that. That actually is really good. It's surprising me big time. Okay. 45 degrees, maximum 30 seconds. Here we go. What do you think? Can you see any movement? God, pepper's strong. You can see the steam coming off it, can't you? Look, it's nice and hot. I don't see any movement whatsoever. It's rock solid. Very, very good. So we're going to give it a 10 for that because it really, there's hardly any pastry on the bench either. So it's very good. Runnability, 10 out of 10. Good job there, Dad's Pies. Meat quality. Well, we've had two decent sized chunks of meat. It looks pretty good. You can see lots of lumps of meat in there. It's not that we get sometimes in pies, just that gravy, slurry stuff. And that's not the case with this pie at all. So far, every mouthful has had decent chunks of meat in it, which is really, really good. And so far, the meat hasn't been gristly at all. It's actually good quality meat. It tastes nice. So at the moment, meat quality, and we might change the scores as we go down, as you know. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm not going to give it a 10 because I've had better. So I'll give it a 9 on meat quality. Okay, pie to crust ratio. This is very technical now. It's about the contents versus the amount of pastry. Now, this isn't a particularly big pie. It is 200 grams in weight, but the pie physically is quite small. And we do have, you can see there's quite a lot of pastry around the edges. The base isn't bad. Down here it's quite thin, but again, we've got quite a big wall thickness on the sides and where it joins the lid here, this sort of corner piece, the rim, so to speak. So, yeah, it is pretty thick. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7 on that one. Now, obviously, it's always a compromise between structural integrity, i.e. more pastry, and then the actual contents versus the amount of pastry. It's always a balance. Have they got it right? I think, to be honest, that piece there especially, that's pretty damn thick. It's probably, that's 10 millimeters of pastry. And I think that's too much for a pie, to be honest. It's a big chunk of pastry. But it is tasty. Okay. Availability stroke logistics. Supermarkets. So you can order it online. You can go to Silverdale. You can buy factory seconds. Don't think you can't buy direct. I don't think from Dad's Pies. They don't do a national shipping service like Lake Farm Pies do. I did go and get one of those fat bastard pies from Invercargill. I even joined the club. I went on to order some pies online and get them delivered here. Turns out they don't deliver rurally. They only deliver to the towns, the cities. So that wasn't an option. Maybe as time goes on, they'll roll it out to the whole country. Don't know. Watch this space. So availability. Dad's Pies are pretty much everywhere. They're pretty good. Supermarkets, some dairies sell them. Petrol stations sell them. So and you can order them online. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to give them a 9. I think the Dad's Pies they're well distributed around the country. Now, pastry taste rating. So let me try and just snick a bit of pastry off for you. First burp. That bit was pretty bland. I mean, we've got all the peppery bits on the top, which is very peppery. but that bit didn't have any of those, and it was just the pastry, and it was a combination of the gooey internal pastry and the more rigid exterior pastry as well. But it was quite bland. No weird aftertaste, but just not a lot of taste at all. So, pastry taste rating, I'm going to give it a 5. I think it's pretty average, to be honest. It could be better. Now, still tasty when cold. We'll save that for the end. Packaging design. Well, there you go, look. There's a lot of thought gone into it. There's no window. You can't see what you're buying. You're obviously just going on reputation. Looks pretty traditional. Dad pies, I think, have gone for the colour-coded wrapper as well. So it's like a lilac, a really light purpley lilac-y colour. Obviously denotes pepper steak. So it's easily identifiable in at the supermarket and so on. You know that if this is the one that you like, that's the colour you go for. A bit like Walker's Crisps do, you know. Pretty cool. I think it's a good idea to do that. Certainly helps you or prevents you getting the wrong pie, which is nothing worse than getting the wrong pie. Now, the bag, I'm just going to put that down for a second. I know it's on the cardboard. The bag is, can you see the glossiness? It is plastic lined. So it protects the pie, it makes it keeps it nice and fresh for you, but there are side effects to that. So design itself, they've obviously considered the materials. It's got quite a bit of information on there. It's not a 5-minute Photoshop job, is that? That's taken a bit of time to put together. I'm going to give them, no window there. I'll give them a 7. It could be better. I'm going to give them a 7. Okay, 7 for that. Now, recyclable score. Now, the bag, given the fact it's got a plastic lining, we know, because we're professionals, we know that it's not recyclable because it's got that plastic liner. So, realistically, they get a 0, don't they, really, I suppose? It's not recyclable, so they get a 0 for that, unfortunately. Okay, just going to cover those structure Foley partners again. We've got a few cracks just developing around the rim. You can see the inner is, you can see the concave element there, look, on the camera. So it is starting to push in. It's losing that structure as we're digging into the pie. Still tasty. It's good. So, the bench is pretty clear. There's hardly any bits of pie on the bench. That's really, really good. As regards structure, it is really good, actually. I can't knock it. I'm going to give it a 9. I don't think it's quite there with a 10. I'm having to be a bit careful with the middle bit, so we'll give it a 9. This could be a pretty high scoring pie, to be honest, in all honesty. Honestly. Post pie heartburn, only had 1 burp so far, so keep that in mind. Stuffability score. Well, we better crack on. Look at that. It's pretty good, and there's a lot of pepper. It's good. Keeps it hot. So, pie server attractiveness. Man, it was a couple of weeks ago when I bought this. It was the supermarket in Taupo. I'm sure it was. Countdown. Young lass, well presented, bubbly, happy, talkative. Had a laugh. I really would say, I'm going to give her a 9 out of 10. I am. I'm going to give her a 9 out of 10. Good job. I think the only thing that could have made it a 10 would be buying the pie in a pub and there's a nice barmaid there, a wench, serving you beer with the pie. That would have been a 10. So, we're waiting for still tasty when cold, post pie heartburn factor, and stuffability score. So realistically, you know, the cold one's next. It has cooled down a bit. Is this one that I would eat cold? I think it is, actually. I don't see any problems at all with eating this cold out of your glove box after a couple of days. I would. You take the risk, you roll the dice, but if I found this in the glove box and I was hungry, man, I would eat this pie. Still tasty. So, still tasty when cold. Gonna give it an 8. Definitely. Okay, we're nearly there. We are very nearly there. The last piece. The last piece of the dad's pie is going down. Certainly cooled down a lot now. Gravy tastes a little bit less tasty as it did when it was hot. But overall, pie is pretty good, actually. Surprised me as that pie. So, stuffability score. Am I stuffed? Yeah, I mean, all the peppery flavours burning my mouth. Am I still hungry? No, I'm not still hungry. I'm going to give it an 8. Post-pie heartburn. I mean, the peppery stuff might cause a bit of a repercussions later on, but at the moment we've only had one burp. So I'm going to give it a 9. I have to give it a 9. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have all the scores in. So let's add it up and see how well the dad's pie, or dad's pies, plural, pepper steak has done on the Andy Mechanic Pie Survey. Do I count that? Wasn't really a burp, was it? Okay, no, we'll ignore that one. Let's see where we end up. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, just get you set up. Bear with me for a second. Dum, 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 dum. So you've got to check my arithmetic as we do this. Oh, that was a burp. Hang on a minute then. Hang on. Another burp. Okay, I'm going to make that 8. Okay, so we've got 17, 27, 36, 43, 52, 57, 65, 72, 80, 88, 97. Bloody hell, that's good going, isn't it? 97 for a dad's pie. Who would have thought? Okay, so dad's pie. Sorry, dad's pies. Pepper steak. I'm going to put 200 grams because we like to know the weight now. And it was actually very tasty. We'll put on there very tasty. And we got 97. That's a very good score. Okay, let's go and see where that ends up on the leaderboard. Here we go. Dum, 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 dum. It is a cool bike, isn't it? It really is a cool bike. Can't believe we bought one of those. Bank manager's going to kill me. Right, 90. Oh, look at that. 97 straight in there. Dad's pies. Now, I think we've done another dad's pies. So that is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's the 8th best pie we've done. And it comes in exactly in line with the Wild Bean Cafe Classic Steak and Cheese. Pretty cool. Okay, any more dad's pies that we've done? I'm sure we've done another one somewhere. No. Oh, dad's pie, steak and cheese. See, that one didn't do anywhere near as well. 89 for that one. Nowhere near as good. But saying that, it is very close. You know, I mean, a lot of these pies are within sort of 10 points of each other. Or even less. So very cool. Any more dad's pies? No. So we've actually not done many dad's pies at all. Just the steak and cheese. And then the one we've just done now, pepper steak. So I do have a mince and cheese in the freezer as well. So maybe we'll do that one next Sunday. We'll see. Or maybe at some point in the future. One day. Good stuff. Pie is done. Right, back to the bench. I need my coffee. Boom, boom, boom. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Sort the camera out. Jeez, honestly, Andy, terrible. There we go. I think we're about there now. Okay, so where do we get to with the comments? Because I've been ignoring the comments deliberately because I was doing the pie review. And pie reviews always take precedence over comments, as you well know. Anyway, cheers. Look at that. Dunoon. Made in England, look. Bloody cool. Still got a sticker on. Fine bone china. Made in England. Only the best in my workshop. Fine bone china has no place in my workshop. It's going to get broken if I'm not careful. It's even got images on the rim, look. If I can just, now I've drunk some, you can see that. There's one there, look. Very nice. We'll twizzle it round. And there's one there. A lot of thought gone into this mug. It's very nice. Thank you, Ellie. Appreciate that. Okay, so where do we get to with these comments? Because they're flowing very quickly at the moment, and I'm way behind. We'll just get rid of that. Don't need that anymore. Okay. Snivelling. Not good. Now, just while I'm covering the comments, observation. There was something else in the title. You're not even level, hang on. God. In the title of this live stream, it says, crate reveal, we've done that. Pie review, we've done that. Big news. Haven't really done any big news. So, keyword, observant. It's on the camera. What do you see? There you go. I'll give you a few minutes while I cover some comments. John, right. Nick Young, 1961. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Nick. Welcome back to the workshop. And thanks for joining in on this live stream. Appreciate that. Matawix, 125cc seems way overpowered. They are normally 50cc. Yes, it's going to go like stink, isn't it? Especially if we can get, maybe at some point, I don't know. I like to keep things really, really original. But who knows, maybe we'll get a different exhaust system for it, if we can get one day. I mean, the budget won't stretch that at the moment. I've got to pay for the bike first. Now then, but I think it'll go pretty well for what it is, because Mrs. Mechanic's only small as well, so it's, power to weight ratio is going to be really good. The pie is getting cold. Thank you, Matowix. We've done that now. It's in my belly. What movie is that from? In my belly. Right. Terrible. Simon, it's a very iconic bike. I think it is. I think it's cool. Matowix, I will be scared to take it off-road since it's a $7,000 bike. I know. But motorcycles are there to be ridden, aren't they? And it's a cool bike. Roger Heaps, you should drop a bike here so you can go do a ride when you have a couple of days. That's a very good idea. Should be organised that. I've got plenty of bikes. Matowix, I thought she came to ask you why you paid $7,000 for the bike. Shh. Because Mrs. Mechanic, as you all keep telling me, and I will only concur, she's a keeper. She works very, very hard. She's worked extremely hard this year in the workshop. We've still got a lot more work to get done. We've still got the deck to finish. There's a lot more work to do on that as well. The corrugated iron roofing stuff is now ready for collection. I'm picking that up on Friday on my way back down from Auckland, because I'm going up to Auckland on Thursday. So I'll collect that on the Friday. And I've got some filming to do in a couple of weeks as well. Not for the channel, for work. I've got to go down south. It's quite a long drive, actually, down south with all the units, all the vehicles that we're going to be using for the filming with the big trailer. And I'll be down there for a couple of days. So all in all, going up to Auckland, getting the units, going down there, doing the filming, getting the units back to Auckland, getting home, that's a week's work for me. 5 days of work. So it's spread over 2 weeks, but it's still 5 days of the work. So that tends to push me back a little bit on my normal duties. But it's well worth doing, because the videos that the team produce they're really good for helping to promote the new models. Simon, I got one every year. It's only £48 in the UK at the moment. I'll have to get one. Peter Woodfine, that pie looks a lot better than the one last week. Yeah, the one last week, that was the one at that baker's, wasn't it, in Oamaru? It was tasty, don't get me wrong. But yeah, that Dad's pie actually, overall, I think will have scored a lot higher. I do need to go through that live stream and capture all the scores, and time, isn't it? It's always time. But I'll do that and get it on the leaderboard. Now then. Matawix, the Dad's pie will have a great stability, a very high stability. The pastry has a good crust, good driving pie. I'm pleased you said that rather than me. I obviously can't endorse eating pies whilst driving, but I would concur, given its characteristics, it would be quite stable being consumed whilst driving. So yes, obviously you've got to roll the dice and choose whether you want to do that or not, but potentially it has that ability. JJ, Maddox, didn't you hear the dang from the saucepan strike? Dang! Yeah, seeing the stars. No, I mean, come on, it's all right. Mrs. Mechanic got a new cooker as well. She couldn't use it yet because it needs wiring up, but not allowed to do that. Says that an electrician has to do it. So we'll try and twist the arm of the electrician that's here tomorrow to wire the cooker up so she can use her new cooker as well. Man, she's getting all the treats. Madowix, they can be a bit too peppery hot. It was pretty peppery, to be honest. One of the most peppery pepper steak pies I've had. The pie should get an 8 out of 10 or more. It did very well, actually. Now then, hang on a minute. I told you they were the gold standard pie. Well, I think it's well up there, there's no doubt, and it is readily available. There's plenty of them out there. Obviously, the ones from the supermarket, you've got to cook yourself, or you've got to warm them up yourself and stuff. They're not available for instant consumption, which is a bit of a downside if you're on a road trip, but overall, very good pie. Quite impressed. Madowix, but the pepper steak can be too peppery. It's the only downfall, but I like it. Yeah, it was a bit zingy on the old lips and stuff, was that one. Brennan Webster. I know you, Brennan. Making me hungry there, Andy. Think it's pie time. Cheers, Brennan. Appreciate that, mate. Madowix. Welcome to the live stream as well. Madowix, they do a gourmet version of that pie. It's bigger. That's the ones I get. That's good to know. I didn't know they did a gourmet one as well, a gourmet. So I'll look out for that. Madowix and Dad's pies don't give you acid reflux. I feel fine actually at the moment. ATV riding trail. Bonjour. Bonjour to you too, sir. Was it comment? No, I've forgotten all my French now. Sorry, mate. Simon. So, a year-ish on, how are the solar lights doing? Well, one of them's up there, but it would be flat because I've not been in the workshop. I'll be charging now, but I've not been in the workshop for like 2.5 weeks, so it will have gone flat. But the one that's still outside, working a treat. I absolutely can't knock it at all. Bargain basement, cheap price, and it just seems to work. I will have to pull that one off as well, and we'll dissect it and see how much water ingress has got in on both of them. One of them was sealed up from memory with some silicone. One of them was completely standard. So we'll have a look at some point. You'll have to maybe even during a live stream we'll pull them apart. We'll see. Now then, Madowix, you can burn the pie wrapper, so don't worry about recycling. Give it a 0 for recycling was a bit rough. Good point. If I'd given it a bit for recycling, but it's not recyclable. That's the bottom line, is it can't be recycled by definition. Huh. Oh, come on. Really? What the hell? Joke cigarette. Now then, Madowix is the best pie thus far. recycling isn't important unless you are a greenie and they don't eat meat anyway. Very fair point, but you know, it's in the criteria, and all the pies that we've surveyed have to meet that criteria, so they get a score based on that. But I see where you're coming from. John Nuttall, no, that burp was because you got up too soon after eating. Given the points back. Give the points back. No. By the way, what's the top pie? The top pie is, it's like a chickeny pie. Let's have a look. I can't remember now. Let's have a look. Go for a walk. I can't remember everything. I'm getting old. The best pie is from Attersbar. Chicken, bacon, and mushroom and cheese. I mean, fantastic combination, really. And it got 106. You know, maybe it was a really good day. Maybe, you know, I was a bit lenient on the scores or whatever, but it did score. It was a bloody good pie. It was a really good pie. Can't knock it at all. Right, back to the bench. Boom. Okay. So, how's your observancy going? Are you being observant today? I don't know. Wait and see. Right, bear with me. Mathematics. The lining on that pie wrapper might be biodegradable. Check on the packet. Okay, hang on then. Bear with me. Cooking instructions, storage instructions, nutritional information, ingredients, filling, contents. This product may contain egg. Really? Made from local ingredients. DP57 used and inspected. Dad's pies. Facebook, Instagram. No, there's nothing on the packet. Believe me, there's nothing on the packet that relates to the disposal of said packet. So if it is, they haven't told us it is. So we have to assume it isn't. Because I'm pretty sure they'd tell you. They'd want to tell you that the packet is biodegradable. If it is, and they haven't. Now, Pete Woodfine, does the news have anything to do with Tool Girl Holly? It doesn't, sorry. John Nuttall, is it the ear stud? John Nuttall. You are the most observant person there is that views this channel. It is, there you go, look. And I don't know if you maybe not seen this. There's one that side as well, look. What the hell? I know, we were going to, well done by the way. We were going to Taupo yesterday, and just before we went, I said to Mrs. Mechanic, in fact, I'll reel back the story. I was in Queenstown the first time on that trip, and I said, it was Eloise's birthday, 24, I know. And I said to Eloise, almost for a laugh really, she was just sat there having a beer or something. Hang on a minute. Something's come in. Is it Mrs. Mechanic telling me off? Oh, no, I don't think so. Mum sent me an email there. I'll read that shortly, Mum, don't worry. Okay, lots of emails. So, and Eloise had some earrings in, and I'd had a few pints, and I said to Ellie, I says, oh, gonna get my ears pierced. Eloise practically choked on her pint. She was like, what the hell? Seriously, Dad, honestly, why would you get your ears pierced? I says, oh, I just want to see your mum's reaction when I get home. It'll be classic. And she's like, oh, no, I don't think you should do that. No, it's not good. No, you shouldn't do that, Dad. No. So I left it at that. Thought, okay, well, we've tested the water. So when I got home yesterday, I was having a coffee. We just emptied the ute and stuff, and we're having a coffee. Me and Mr. Mechanic. And I said the same. I said, oh, how do you feel? And I wanted to involve Mrs. Mechanic in the discussions. How do you feel about it if I get my ears pierced? And she sort of looked at me and she's like, seriously, midlife crisis is still going on. I'm like, yeah, you got to make the most of it. And she was like, no, I really couldn't see you with your ears pierced, to be honest. It's not really the thing to do. No, and how's work going to take it? And all they'll do is take the piss and all this kind of stuff. And so again, we had a light-hearted discussion about it, and then I sort of left it and said, okay, well, okay. understood your perspective, duly noted. Appreciate that. It was good to talk about it, to involve you in this decision, because you are my wife and all that, and it's nice to have these discussions. And then we packed up the workshop, and we had to go into Taupo to go and pick up Mrs. Mechanic's new oven that's been on order for a while, and it's been sat there waiting to be picked up, but we couldn't pick it up because I was away. And driving into Taupo, we're about 5 minutes away, and she's obviously got internet back on her phone now because we're not in the middle of nowhere. She starts Googling places to get your ears pierced, and she starts reading them out. Well, there's Casper's, and there's this other one, and there's Life Pharmacy. Well, I'm not going to a pharmacy for it, but it did start me thinking, oh, hang on a minute. If she started to research where I could get it done, then maybe she's softening to the idea a little bit. Maybe she's actually come round to thinking it's not such a bad thing. So we get down into Taupo, and I pull up the side of the road, and I said, okay, well, give me one of the addresses. We'll go there. So I chose Casper's out of there was only 3 places, chose Casper's, and we went to go and try and find this Casper's tattoo place that did piercings as well. And couldn't find it, so I rang them up, and she wasn't there, and they didn't do ear piercings anyway, so fair enough. So I then rang the other place. I forgot the name of the place, Black Diamond or something it was called, and rang them up. Do you do ear piercings? No, we don't do ear piercings. We just do a proper piercing. So fair enough, mate. All good. Thank you very much. So the only one left was Life Pharmacy. So we popped Life Pharmacy in the old GPS and wandered in. Walked up to the counter, and there was this old lady, well, late to middle-aged lady, stood there. And I said, "Do you do ear piercings?" Quite brazenly. "Do you do ear piercings?" And she says, "Yes, we do ear piercings." Excellent. And I was busy watching Mrs. Mechanic's reaction, because I think she was waiting me to abort mission. Almost I was just like playing a prank kind of thing to see how far she would go with it. But I think she was doing exactly the same thing with me. And the lady said, "Yes, we do." "And is it just the one ear, sir?" I said, No, let's do both." "What the hell? It's only a hole in your ear." And she sort of looked at me a bit confused. And then obviously she saw the ponytail, and she's like, "Most gentlemen just get the one ear done, sir." I was like, I tried to put on my best Clarkson accent. No, we're going to go with both. It's all good. We'll do both while we're here, because, in for a penny, in for a pound. And she looked at me really confused, and then slammed down on the counter the choice of the little things that they put in, wherever they are. You need to choose what you want. Now, of course, this little glass cabinet thing that she put on the counter, this little sort of display box, had many different types of studs and bits and pieces in there. Most of them were quite flowery and girly-like and stuff. And Mrs. Mechanic decided to seize the moment. And because I said, "Look, maybe Mrs. Mechanic, maybe you'd like to choose, because, I'll always be part of this experience. You can choose." And she said, "Well, maybe you should get a little pink flower on either side. Maybe that would work best." And I'm like, "No, I'm not walking out with a pink flower in me. That's not going to happen." And there was some, well, as you can see, there was some like little little silver study things. And I said, "Well, they look reasonably discreet, And the lady's like, "Well, you need to keep it in for 6 weeks." And I'm like, "Holy shit, really?" I had no idea. So obviously what I chose had to be something which was going to be reasonably discreet, and something that wasn't going to cause me too many problems. So I chose those, and Mrs. Mechanic at this point was like, "Seriously, you going through with it?" I said, "Yep." And the lady said, "Well, do you want the stuff that goes with it to look after your holes in your ears, and so it doesn't go moldy and stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, that's good." So she charged me $44. There you go, I paid for it. So the minute I paid for it, it was sort of a turning point. And Mrs. Mechanic's like, "You seriously going ahead with this? Really?" I says, "Yeah, why not? What the hell? Blokes have earrings, right? I mean, you see it on telly in the movies all the time. The pirates and all that. Lots of male actors have earrings." So I said, "Yeah, what the hell? You only live once." And all my hair's going to fall out in the next few years, so it's something to hang on to. And so the lady says, "Oh, you need to go into the observation room or something." I'm like, "What the hell?" So I wandered through there, and she gets this kit out, which is like a couple of like chrome metal guns. And then she starts opening up these sealed packets and putting like a cartridge thing in the gun. And I'm like, "What the hell's going on here?" you know? And then she gets a pen and she starts marking where she's going to pierce my ear and stab it with these guns. And the guns had a big long needle on them. I'm like, what the hell? Anyway, are you really sure you want both ears doing? I'm like, yes, let's just get on with it. I know it's going to really hurt, but let's just get on with it. So she's like, fair enough. And Emma's just covering her face and trying not to be associated with me at all at this point. But I think deep down inside, she's having hysterics. And anyway, she says, turn your head. So puts this bloody gun thing against my head and clamps my ear in it. And are you ready? You go for it. Go for it. And I was really bracing myself for lots of pain. I was really thinking it was going to be quite painful. And 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh, is that it? I actually hardly felt that at all. And she's like, really? I says, yeah. I was expecting it to be a lot more painful. Okay, well, let's do the other side then. So I turned my head around and in it went. And that was it. Job done. She handed me all the bits and pieces, the care kit to go with it. And we wandered out. Mrs. Mechanic is she's, pardon the pun, but she's chewing my ear. She's like, I cannot believe. And every time she looked at me, she just started laughing. And it's like, come on, it's not that bad, is it really? So I put it to you, the viewers. What's your response? Andy Mechanic has had his ears pierced. Not one, but both ears. What do you think? What's your perspective on gentlemen, such as me, with a beard and so on, with having their ears pierced? I'd like to know. One thing I would say in my defence is obviously, we travelled around Taupo collecting stuff and going to various shops and petrol stations and so on, and not one person burst out laughing. They all just got along with their business and didn't say anything. I didn't spot any weird smirks or anything like that. So I was feeling a bit more. I was very nervous, obviously, because it's a very different look now. But as the day progressed, I got a bit more confident. So I'm still a bit concerned. And at the end of the day, like I said to Mr. Mechanic, it's just 2 little tiny holes in my earlobes. I can always take them out, and nobody would, it's just a little tiny hole in your ear. Nobody's ever going to notice if you're not wearing earrings. So anyway, what's your verdict? I'm very interested to find out. Right, where do we get to? John Nuttall, so well done. Excellent observancy there, if that's a word. Simon, big reveal. Is that Miss Forge behind you? It is. That is Miss Forge for September. And I actually only turned the calendar over today. Very cool. And no red tape needed. Saved on the red tape. It's good. Ashley Halls. I miss pork pies. I miss pork pies too, but we can buy them in New Zealand. They're actually pretty good. New World in the deli in New World. New World's a supermarket here. Most of them, the bigger stores do they're about 5-inch diameter, maybe 6-inch diameter, sort of pork pie. Very much like an English pork pie. There's no real difference. It tastes great, and I usually try and get one maybe once a month just for a treat. Madowix, review on a New World deli pork pie. I should do that, but it's not quite a pie review, but I suppose it is a pie as such. So watch this space, maybe. I think maybe we'll have to. I don't know if it can go on the same list because it's quite different criteria, but I don't know. We'll see how things go. Work in progress. Jim Haynes, at the sprint car races in Shenandoah Speedway, Virginia. But I did hit the like button. Thank you, Jim, and have fun at the Speedway, as always. Simon, the top pie has bacon. Bacon makes things taste better. Steak, cheese, and bacon will be a winner. I'll keep my eyes peeled for one of those. Madowix, don't see steak, bacon, and cheese pies very often here in New Zealand. No, I think they're quite rare. It doesn't ring any bells. Roger Heaps. Ponytail. Ear studs. Are you a qualified yoga instructor now? Never done yoga, Roger. And probably never will, to be perfectly honest. But good comment. Thank you for that. Simon, we'll have a tongue piercing next, lol. It has its advantages, lol. Does it now? I wasn't aware of that. I don't think I'll be getting a tongue piercing. I think Mrs. Mechanic would be quite upset if I did that. Although, who knows? John, John, I think you need help more than you know. Next, you will have your nails done. For God's sake. Simon, look, guys get their ears pierced. We see it on TV all the time, right? It's a changing world. That's all I'll say. In my defence, well, you know, it's just a laugh. It's not like it's not permanent, is it? Really, it's just a little. I mean, I've got so many injuries around my body. What the heck, you know? What's two more? Simon, is there a bigger plan? Starch holes in the ears? No, I think what you mean there is where you use one of those and you expand the hole. My mate Ian, who lives in Scotland now, he had one of those where a stretcher kind of thing in his ear. That was weird, was that? When you can see through somebody's body part that you shouldn't be able to see through, I find it quite disturbing. So no, that's not going to happen. John, Alan, if you're watching this, your staff member is at meltdown point. I actually have been a little bit concerned that I might even get dragged in the office for a little discussion. And it might be all tongue-in-cheek, who knows, but Alan might well say something. We will have to wait and see. George, Bonnie 90. I have both of my ears pierced, but I haven't worn anything in like 20 years. Well, good on you, George. I think that's excellent news. You see, I told you, gentlemen have their ears pierced. It's not all gentlemen, obviously, but some gentlemen do. And I'm part of that fraternity now. So, George, we've got something else in common. Pete Woodfine. I have 2 holes in my left ear, done quite a few years ago. You see, this is great. I feel so much better now. Roger Heaps. Julie wants to know what you've had. Oh dear. I did have a waxing done years and years ago, actually. I shouldn't disclose this, but me and Mrs. Mechanic went to Easing World. And I used to have quite a reasonably hairy back, and she decided to have my back waxed. Very painful. Would never do it again. Can't remember if we had anything else waxed. Can't remember. It was a long time ago. But anyway, it was one of those do it once kind of things. And maybe, I don't know, maybe there was an ulterior motive to it. I don't know. Can't remember. But it was fun. It actually wasn't fun. It was painful, but it was an experience. George 190, I think you should do you. Thank you. I must admit, I do feel a lot more confident now as I'm aging. Well, less bothered about what other people think, less conscious, and like, to hell with it. The big picture, you know, the world's a very difficult place to live in these days, and what's a couple of ear piercings, to be perfectly honest? In the big scheme of things, so what, really? Simon, from someone who has had many different places pierced over the years, it's cool. Coming from Simon, I appreciate that, sir. I salute you. How's that? That was very good. Thank you, Simon. And me and Simon hadn't spoken in advance. Simon had no idea. He obviously knew about the monkey bike. Well, he didn't really. He guessed it. He had a very good idea. Very observant as well, Simon. But nobody other than Mrs. Mechanic knew that I'd had my ears pierced. Not even the kids know. There's going to be some fun. I mean, Ellie probably has an idea because I'm quite stubborn and I just do what I want to do anyway. Quote Mrs. Mechanic. But they don't actually know yet. Ben probably is going to be quite taken back. He'd be like, "Oh, really, Dad? Not sure about that." So thank you, Simon. Appreciate that. eLuke455. Welcome from Luke. Normally in AU, Australia. Currently in Foxborough, Massachusetts, I guess, US of A. Nice. eLuke, did you get my photo via email of the Janus? Did you send that today? Hang on. Have a look. I think something did come through. Yes, eLuke. Oh yeah. We just download that, Luke. Hang on. It's just downloading. Internet. Mobile data internet at the moment in the workshop is horrendously slow. It really is. It could take it a while. So just I'll leave that alone for a minute. I did another speed test on my phone that's running the laptop, and upload was 1 megabyte a second. It was atrocious. Hey, look at that. Let's get rid of the cigarette. Can you see that? Nice. Oh, it is. There we are. Look. A Janus. Very cool. With the bladed number plate at the front for pedestrian usage only. That's a cool bike, isn't it? Little rack on the back. It's got fishtail pipes on it. Bop, 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 bop. That'd be nice with that, wouldn't it? What engines have you got in it? Wow. Look at that. Obviously a 4-stroke. Very cool. Looks a retro. Doesn't look... I don't know. Somebody's done a really good job on that. The engine looks way too modern to be an old engine. So it must be like a reproduction type thing, I would say. Yeah, it's got disc brakes on it. Bloody disc brakes. It's got proper indicators. It's got modern switch gear on there. But still very cool. I like all this retro stuff that's coming out. I don't think it'll have ABS though. I can't see any tone rings. So unfortunately, they wouldn't be able to sell that here in New Zealand because we have to have ABS on all our motorcycles over 125cc now. You won't get it registered otherwise. Anyway, where do we get to? So thank you for the picture, Luke. Appreciate that. Ashley, scrolling down. Ashley Halls. I had my nose pierced after pressure from my girlfriend. Nearly ripped it out every time I dried my face with a towel. It didn't last very long. Jeez. No, couldn't do a nose ring. I couldn't. I say that now. If you'd asked me a year ago I was going to get my ears pierced, I would say, no, I won't be doing that. Thank you very much. So who knows? Mrs. Mechanic's going to be laughing her head off now. Simon. Can I say that on YouTube? Simon had his nipples done. Make them very sensitive. That's good to know, Simon. Thank you very much for that. I've got this picture in my head now. Appreciate that. Bear that in mind. Yes, something I have considered over the years, but never ever followed through with it because of the pain factor. And Mrs. Mechanic would probably go mental about it as well, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe I'll sound her out. We'll see what she says. Roger Heaps. Put a helmet on and remove it before end of the live stream. It should be good for a laugh. No, I'm not doing that. No way, Jose. I know what would happen. eLukeFit455. They are modern built in old style. Yes, retro. Very, very cool. I like it. Sam Roll looks like a Chinese engine. Maybe. Probably is. Now then. John Nuttall, you had that done for the Queen, didn't you? You will never get that thought out of your head now, will you? Hadn't even thought about it, but you're quite right. Maybe I did. Maybe it's a tribute to our long-standing Queen that has passed away recently. I don't know. It wasn't. I can't claim that. That wasn't the reason why I had it done. Built in Indiana. Nice. Madowix, but new DR200Ss don't have ABS. Is that why they aren't bringing them in? No, the DR200 Trojan can't be road registered. It's a farm bike. They can't put a number plate on it. So they'll keep bringing them in just for use on the farms, for sure. And bear in mind, the only reason why my DR200 farm bike can be road registered is because it's actually got a trail bike frame on it, and the trail bike frame was certified. The difference between the two frames is very, very minimal, in all honesty. The farm bike frame doesn't have the pillion foot pegs. Mine does. Although I have seen the Trojan advertised with pillion foot pegs. Bizarre. Maybe they ran out of farm bike frames. I don't know. And it also has the right-hand side stand, which the trail bike doesn't have. But again, we modified it a bit, and we've now got both side stands. So it looks and functions exactly like the farm bike does. It just has a number plate on it. Simon, does seem very strange from the UK hearing King Charles III on the news. I bet it does. I really thought he was going to hand it down, to be honest, but clearly not. Clearly he wants to be king, so be it. Yes. Well, that went cold quick. How long are we in? 1 hour and 50 minutes. What the hell? Right, I'm going to finish this cigarette and then I need to call it a day. I really do. So I'll get your last few comments in now. Going by the comments, I believe that you're all okay with the earring stud things. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your support on that. And, you know, I can now say with confidence, should I get dragged into the office at work, I can say general consensus globally is it's fine. Shouldn't be an issue. I'll report back. Might be unemployed. Who knows? Oh, think of that holiday. Unemployed. I don't want to be unemployed. I'd get a lot more done. I could do more videos. Pete, they're your ears, Andy. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate that. You guys have been great this morning. This is what it's all about. It's almost like group therapy, isn't it? I really like this kind of talk that we have on a Sunday morning. It's invaluable to me. It gives me a chance just to chill out for a bit and have a chat with my mates. That's what these live streams are for. I don't do the live streams to try and get millions of views. It's never going to happen. It's just the little subgroup of viewers that like to join in and air whatever they want to air and talk about it. You know, we've talked about all sorts of stuff today, haven't we? Zills, off-road trucks, trip to the South Island, getting your ears pierced. I mean, you know, just standard mechanic stuff, really. Do that to me. We're back. Good. Well done, Fern. Now then, Madowix, what about the road version of the DR200? Can't they bring that in? No, they can't bring that in anymore. They can't sell the trail bike version of the DR200 anymore because it doesn't have ABS. Simon, why drag you in? Bikes, piercing, and tats go hand in hand. There you go. And I am a biker, and I have got tattoos. I have 4 tattoos, believe it or not. And who knows, there might be another one day. I'm sure there will, actually. I'm sure there will be another one. I've not had a tattoo done for years. I did think about getting an all-back tattoo, but I priced it all up and it got really expensive. And I thought, maybe not. Anyway, that is the end of the cigarettes, and that brings us to the end of this live stream. What a weird and wonderful live stream it's been. We've even done the reveal of the little monkey bike down there, and looking forward to making many videos on that. One of those videos will be today when we get it out of the crate. Wish me luck. What else we got? Pete Woodfine, Andy, thanks for the live. George Bonnie 90, later guys. That's it. We're all done. Thank you again for watching the live stream in the workshop. I'll see you again, earrings and all, next Sunday, 8:30 a.m. All right, crew. Cheers. Over and out.